Okay, welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus. This is episode 91. First up, we want to shout out our sponsors. First, we have Defend Hawaii. They've been our sponsor from the start. Go check them out. They have a store, Windward Mall. They have a bunch of new clothes coming out for the fall. They summer drops. Everything you need to know, go to their website, defendhawaii.com. They also do some community service and educating about the Hawaii culture. Go check them out, defendhawaii.com. Use promo code ATBpod on checkout for whatever you buy. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next, we have iRep Detail Supply. If you go to irepdetailsupply.com, go check out what they have to detail your car. They have waxes, polishes, soaps, anything you need. They also have a store in Temple Valley Shopping Center. irepdetailsupply.com. Same thing, promo code ATBpod upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Last, we have Hawaii Candy Factory. You see their candies everywhere. They have noms. They have all these lihimui gummies, gushers, nerds. My favorites, the peaches. Check them out, hawaiicandyfactory.com. Promo code ATBpod upon checkout. You'll receive 10% off your entire purchase order. And now I want to announce a new sponsorship. It's Medicinal Mushrooms Hawaii. My friend Clint owns this company, and we'll be doing some promos. They have lion's mane tinctures, and I've been taking it for a while. If you don't know what lion's mane does, go Google it. It does a lot for brain health and also for energy. I've been taking this for a few months now, and it's been helping my life in such a positive way. I wanted to get these guys on as a sponsor. So go check them out. Their website is medimushroomhigh.com. Medimushroomhigh.com. Go check them out. Go get one of these tinctures. If you use promo code ATBpod on checkout, you'll receive 40% off your first bottle. Go check them out. Aloha. This week, I have somebody on who I've known my pretty much my whole life, and someone who's very important to me and the person I am. Somebody I knew since we were little kid times, running around Kaneohe doing crazy stuff. But he's one of my closest friends. His name's Clint Pahia. He owns Medicinal Mushroom Hawaii, and he wants to come on here and talk about it, explain a lot about his new company. And I'm super stoked to have you on, Clint. How you been?
Good, brother. Thank you very much for having me on, bro. Thank you for allowing me to share with your community, bro. So awesome, bro. It's a real good around the circle type thing, bro. Thank you very much, man.
I know I'm super impressed with what you have going on, and I'm so interested. For one, your company, too. I know your work ethic, and I know the person you are, and because you went all in on this, it got me excited because I know that the way you are when you're about something is gonna change levels. So I'm thinking this is gonna be a good situation, and I have a lot of questions personally, and I know the mushroom industry right now is becoming like
Blowing up.
it's like super mainstream, and I know there's a lot to deal with, like with the whole psychedelic mushrooms and all that, but what you got going on is kind of not even psychedelic. For one, I love mushrooms, like portobello. I like mushroom burgers, like shiitake. I always like mushrooms, but I listen to a bunch of podcasts and they talk about psychedelics and also different strains of mushrooms that have health benefits. And for me, I thought that was cool because it's definitely organic and natural versus pharmaceutical. And for me, I'm anti big pharma and all the meds that they've been pushing on people is just not good. I don't even take Tylenol, and I'm allergic to aspirin, so I'm afraid to take any kind of drug. So anything organic and natural is always something I always try to mess with. Um, First off, I just want to know. Let's see. What can we start off with first? They
Uh,
are lots of strains of mushrooms. What is your company about? And also, why did you get started trying to do mushrooms?
right. So I was always into healing. I was like you, did not believe in the pharmaceutical. You know, there's a lot of different unfortunate events that happened in our lives that kind of led us to exploring the wonderful world of mushrooms, you know, and it came at a perfect time for us. The first unfortunate event was about 13 years ago. My wife was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, basically where her immune system sees her hips, her hands as foreign objects and just attacks the crap out of it. So
Oh
she's in
wow.
a lot of pain. Yeah, yeah. She's always tired, you know. And we went to all kinds of specialists, all kinds of Western doctors, and their best answer for us was to kill or weaken her immune system. Since her immune system was overactive, that was their answer, you know. And it was really some hard drugs that they were giving her. Some of it was like chemotherapy, methotrexate to be um, in particular, you know, and she's got to go in for monthly infusions and,
Oh
you
wow.
know, just, yeah, it's not what an ideal situation for us. So we were trying to look for something other than the Western answer, you know, and at that time, Paul Stamets and Joe Rogan really did a lot to bring the information to the Western culture. So we fell in love with the mushrooms, fell in love with mycelium, what mycelium does in the world, and really started believing in the mushrooms, you know. And then about a year ago, we both caught COVID, and that was like our second unfortunate event that happened to us, and it was at the worst possible time. Like it was a few days before Lisa's next infusion, and as you know, if you got COVID, you can't go into the doctors. So
Oh yeah.
with her with her weakened immune system, she pretty much was looking at about a month where she wouldn't be able to get any relief that she was so used to, yeah. And it was a kind of weird COVID because it was giving this thing called Paxlovid or Paxlovid. I kind of forgot the name of it, but it kind of eased the symptoms of COVID. But in turn, it in the end made us have a relapse of the COVID. So it
My
was
dad
even
took that. Yeah.
that's you, yeah, yeah. And of course, the Western doctors tell us this is what we got to take, and because there's no alternative to it, that's what we do, you know. And
Yeah.
it was really like 2 months where she couldn't get into the infusion, she couldn't get the medicine that she needed, so we really had to come up with a different game plan. And prior to that, was kind of already exploring the idea of mushrooms, but that's basically what lit the fire under our ass, kind of, you know. So I remember we was getting all kinds of tinctures and capsules, and none of it was really working, you know. And by then we was already sold on mycelium and mushrooms, so we just figured it was the type of medicine, it was the process that they was going through. So we was looking to just get our own mushrooms, and that's I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to order lion's mane or reishi or any of these medicinal mushrooms here in Hawaii, but it's almost it's very hard to get. So that's kind of how we started growing it. That's kind of how we started making our own medicine. It was really to try and get at least some type of relief. So yeah, that's kind of how we started everything, and just kind of took off after that. So a bunch of these unfortunate events ended up being a blessing in disguise. So that's how
Okay.
medicinal mushrooms kind of started off. But yeah, there's a lot of mushrooms out there. There's a lot of mushrooms that do a lot of different things. Of course, the psilocybin really well for mental health, and
Yeah.
eventually wouldn't mind getting into something like that once it becomes legal. But
Yeah.
right now we're kind of focusing on the other mushrooms, in particular lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, eventually turkey tail, but trying to combine these mushrooms to make the best medicine, something that Lisa can take that's other than chemotherapy type medicine. So yeah, that's kind of how everything started, man.
Oh, that's crazy. That's kind of fortunate. What is mycelium?
So mycelium is the root of all mushrooms. I think like say if we were to compare mushrooms to an apple tree, mycelium would be the root, would be the tree, would be the leaves, and the mushroom itself would be the apple. It's really just the fruit of mycelium. So I,
Oh,
I
okay.
think a lot of people don't really understand too much. Like when they think about mushrooms growing in the nature and wild, they see these things pop up after a big rain and it's there for a day or so and then it's gone. But what
Yeah.
people don't realize is this huge living organism called the mycelium. And to truly understand how well the mushrooms work or why the mushrooms work so well, you got to understand the mycelium part of it. And really, growing mushrooms is all understanding mycelium and propagating that basically. But yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yep, no,
Like,
for sure. Makes sense. So
right,
because your wife had ailments, you wanted to find an alternative medicine, and what did you do? Just Google mushrooms, or like how did you educate yourself how to start using it and um growing it and extracting, or whatever you guys do to make it into medicine?
I see. So we tried alternative methods. We tried dieting, and the dieting really worked as far as bringing down our inflammation numbers, but it just costs so much to buy the right foods.
Oh
So
yeah.
we kind of started looking into mycelium. We really didn't. We got frustrated. That's what happened when we couldn't get mushrooms. I mean, we put orders into Whole Foods. I mean, even
Oh.
got to the process of paying for it, only to get an email a few days later saying they canceled because it's no longer in stock. And I don't know if that's just the way it was supposed to be. But we got really frustrated. We was down with COVID, so there's a lot of time for us to just research this stuff.
Hmm.
And prior to this, we already was studying up on mushrooms and kind of dabbling at what it could do. But I don't think we really got into the idea that we should start growing it until we caught the COVID. And it actually worked out perfect. Like we needed something that we could get within a couple of months and mushrooms done right from petri dish to full blown mushroom takes about 3 weeks. So
Oh
it
wow.
fell perfectly into our time frame. And it doesn't take a lot of space. So we actually use the spare bedroom for our grow area. And it just worked out super perfect. During the COVID time, there was a lot of downtime. I was pretty angry about the situation we was in. So nothing like lighting a fire under your ass to try and cure the person you love.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
just seen her, she was in pain. The idea that she couldn't get any relief for a couple of months, like I would have moved mountains at that moment to try and figure out something. So that's kind of how we got into it. And the information, and that's the beautiful thing about nowadays, like information with YouTube or SchoolTube, you can find anything, anything. Like that's how I basically learned how to grow. And I tried all the methods and we went all out. Like me and my wife was 100% in trying to do everything. So we tried to grow every possible way in containers and bags and buckets. I mean, we just went balls to the walls and just tried to see what was the fastest way. And that was kind of it, you know. Like I'm not too sure if we would have gotten to that point had we not had this fire under us, you know, to try and figure out some system, some way. But yeah, I learned everything on YouTube. that's that's the amazing thing of life nowadays, you know, the information out there, it's out there. You just got to be willing to look for it and buy the things necessary. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, you
yes,
can
brother.
find anything on YouTube, and I guess the motivation you had is probably the best motivating factor ever. You know what I mean?
Yes,
To help treat your wife from pain and discomfort, that'll definitely get you going. I think
yeah,
what people don't know about mushrooms is, like I said, a lot of people have a stigmatism because of the whole psychedelics. Like, oh, I'm not gonna
yes.
mess with any of that. Or if you put medical mushrooms, it's already like, oh, you can get all hallucinating or whatever. But just like weed, there's different strains, and some do give you a psychedelic euphoric feeling, and some have healing properties. What are the main mushrooms that you kind of work with, and what are their healing properties?
Got you. So the main mushroom that we started off with was lion's mane, and that was at that time the most popular. And the great thing about lion's mane is its ability to help the brain function. You know, it also allows us to lower the inflammation numbers. I mean, there's like 9 health benefits from your heart to your gut to your immune system. It was just a great all around mushroom, you know. And I think we went with that one because that out of all the medicinal mushrooms, that was the one that you could actually eat with. And we wanted to try something that the whole family could enjoy, you know, not just take pills for me and Lisa or a
Oh,
tincture for me and Lisa, something that we kind of wanted to start the family on. So we started off with lion's mane. And lion's mane, the beautiful thing about mushrooms is that they all do almost the same thing. There's inflammation healing, there's anti-cancer, there is heart diabetes, there's the list is pretty long, and all the mushrooms do it. But each particular mushroom really focuses on one of the aspects as their major components that's in there. So lion's mane would be more brain health. You know, it's
okay.
a nootropic type of thing where it allows. It's such a small component that it can actually pass through the blood-brain barrier. In doing so, and try to find the right medicine. Like I said, all the medicines will help inflammation, you know. But we also wanted something that we could actually feel, you know, something that we could tell that we took something and we feel the difference. And lion's mane, because it was it was one of the more popular mushrooms. There's a lot of information on how to grow it, the right settings, the right lighting. So that's kind of why we focused on that. And then once we got that down, we started looking into other mushrooms. So the main, like you said, there's thousands of different species of mushrooms, but right now we're only focusing on the 5 mushrooms. So we're doing lion's mane, turkey tail, red reishi, cordyceps, and chaga. And that's really the 5. Like whenever you look at any mushroom medicine out there, that's usually the 5 more popular type medicines. And so again, okay, lion's mane helps with the brain. Chaga really helps with the inflammation, and not just inflammation in the joints, but curing the inflammation in the gut system.
Okay.
Cordyceps it is more of an oxygenator. It allows more oxygen in your blood system. So, um, taking it for pre-workout, this is really something to give energy and focus, and works really well when you combine it with a lion's mane. Turkey tail is an anti-canceral, and they have this component called polysaccharide K, where really find that it helps cancer tumors and helps identify the cancer cells a lot faster. And in fact, in Japan, polysaccharide K is something that they prescribe to people that have cancer and is taken in conjunction with chemotherapy and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And turkey tail was again turkey tail kind of helps with the inflammation, but focuses more on the internal stomach type inflammation, which is where I think Lisa's root of the problem is. There's all different kinds of inflammation. So turkey tail really helps to kill the H. pylori, strengthen that mucous membrane within the smaller and large intestines. A lot of NSAIDs that we take, medicines that we take, a lot of foods that we eat ends up making holes in our stomach lining, in our small intestines, and that polysaccharide K really helps to block all of that. So that's basically the 5 mushrooms that we're going for. Yeah, yeah. Did I miss
Okay.
any of them?
No, that's good, bro. I got I've been taking lion's mane. You gave this to me, this tincture, and I've been taking this for a bunch of months, right? A couple months already. And for me personally, not just because you giving it to me, because if it didn't work, I would tell you, you know what I mean? But
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Thank you,
have
bro.
found a lot has to do with, and I've taken it religiously because I wanted to be a good test subject when you started doing your company. I wanted to, okay, I'm gonna try this, and I was always interested in mushrooms, but I wanted to try it and do it correctly. So I've been doing the dosage that I'm supposed to. I've been doing it religiously, even took this on my trip. And I have to admit that this is a game changer for me. It definitely helps me focus. I even take it before my podcast just because I want to be able to come up with ideas and thoughts and be able to kind of communicate as best as I can on my podcast. I take it in the morning with my coffee. Every morning I take it with my coffee, and I have noticed, for me, I don't forget things that I normally would at work. And it's just, I don't forget things. I'm just really more razor focused and sharper. And things that would take a little more time for me to figure out comes to me a lot quicker. And I could just be getting smarter, or it's because of this. I don't know. I haven't
That,
been to getting smarter recently, so I'm thinking it's this. But one thing I do notice, which I really like, I would take it just for this reason only, is my patience level has extremely elevated. So what would set me off doesn't anymore. And things my daughter or girlfriend would do, I have a lot more patience where I can take a step back and try to think things out without getting angry or upset or snapping or drawing my own conclusions. And that, I think, for me, is the biggest benefit of this. It gives me a patience and enough time to figure out how to handle things how I would want to. There's times in my life where I get mad and then I fly off the handle and then I can't take it back. This gives me that little bit of time to think about what I want to do and how I want to relay my thoughts without being angry. So that's what I benefit from this. And I'm not sure if it's the same for everybody, but for me personally, and I've talked to you about it many times, it blows my mind. And I'm afraid to stop. Like, I don't want to stop taking it because of everything that I've gained from it. And just in life, like, I've learned to be a lot more patient with my dad. Like, there's times I would come home and you know the feeling, bro. Pops is cutting the grass, and you know you already gonna have to do some dumb shit, and you're gonna be, you know what I mean? And I stopped to think, and my dad's getting older, and it reminded me, it's like, brah, I get to work in the yard with my dad. I don't have to. So it becomes more of my thought process been more positive also. And one of our best friends, Frankie, explained to me before, like he told me one day when I was complaining to him that I got to do something with my dad, and his dad passed, and he said, bro, I would give anything to be able to do that with my dad. And every time that certain situations where it's like, I gotta help him, or he let me do this, or I gotta stop what I'm doing, it gives me that enough patience to know, like, this is something positive, like take it as a positive thing. So for me, that's been a huge benefit. And yeah, like I said, I want to promote it. I'm giving it to people now. I know it's going to change people's lives, and because it's your company, I know that it's being done the right way. So for lion's mane, I just want to know a few things about it. I want to talk
Yes.
about lion's mane first, because it's, for me, it's been a blessing, and for my family, because I'm not all riled up every time. But can you just pound it in a like fry up the
Just
mushrooms and grind them, or like what?
sure. Yes, definitely can. And that's why we kind of started with lion's mane. We
So they're
figured that it
edible.
was so they're super edible. Out of all the medicinal mushrooms, that's one of the edible ones.
Do they taste good?
So they have the consistency, and I've known people to say that it tastes like or got the consistency of lobster or crab. And it all
Okay.
depends on the type of way that you, for us, just sauteing it in butter, really started. It's a delicious type of mushroom, and
Okay.
probably the first way we wanted to ingest mushrooms. And when we were eating it, I don't know, we didn't really feel a lot of the benefit from it. And when learning more about mushrooms in general, our body, so the mushrooms fruiting body has this component called chitin, and it's not something that our body can digest. And it would take us a lot of chewing and for it to draw out any type of juices. The same amount that we could get off of, say, the tincture, would have to
Okay.
eat like maybe 3 to 4 pounds of mushrooms, which there's just no way you can eat that.
Yeah, yeah.
In the beginning, we tried to cook it with everything, and maybe the first couple times, the kids absolutely loved it. But after the fourth, fifth time, I
Mushrooms
was getting,
again.
it gets a lot. It gets much. And if you're looking for medicinal types of benefits, probably not the best way to ingest the mushrooms. The other ways is to just grind it up and put it into a powder and put it into a capsule, but you're still trying to digest the chitin. At least you grind it up to a powder, so you will get a little bit more than just trying to eat the regular mushrooms. But we found the best way was through a process called dual extraction, where you use the alcohol to suck up the terpenes. And then at the same time, you use a slow boil to pull out the beta, I'm sorry, the arenaceous is the component that you get from boiling it. And when you
Okay.
combine the two, that's the best way to try and take lion's mane mushrooms or any type of mushroom medicinal qualities. As far as the mental sharpness, and that's why we really like the lion's mane mushroom. As we get older, over our synapse gaps, we develop this thing called amyloid plaque. It's an amyloid beta plaque, and it's basically something that covers all our neuron ends. And as we grow older, as we eat food that's not healthy for us, this plaque tends to cover more of the synapse gaps. The good thing about the lion's mane, like I said earlier, it's a nootropic type of thing. So it's small enough to be able to go through these gaps and actually penetrate this plaque that grows over our brain neurons. Um, in dementia and Alzheimer's, this plaque goes out of control, and the more it grows, the more we forget. And there's been super good, promising studies on how this can help not only stop the growth of this plaque, but enable the neurons to communicate with each other because of this small nootropic quality of the hericium. That's the other component, what we pull off on the alcohol part. I think they did. And you know, the crazy thing about this is there's not a lot of human studies. There's a lot of rat studies. There's a lot of test tube studies. But there was, in 2020, they did a 49-week study with people that had lower Alzheimer's, progressing dementia. And for 3 weeks, they made them not take the Western drugs that they were taking. And then they supplemented 3 grams of lion's mane tincture for 3 weeks. A 49-week period. And at the end of the 49 weeks, it was a double blind where one took the lion's mane, the other one took just something else, you know. And what they realized was that the lion's mane not only stopped the growth of plaque, but it also helped the communication between the neurites or the neurons in the synapse capsules. So there's a lot of study out there on how this can help improve a lot of brain function. They have a thing called nerve growth factor that the lion's mane enables, and that's the hypothalamus. So it stimulates the hypothalamus, and that's why you feel the mood enhancement. This is why you're able to take it easy. And I think they did another study in 2010 with women on menopause. They gave them 3-gram cookies, and in 3 weeks, these guys reported feeling better, irritation, anxiety level all dropped. And that's really about the only human trials that they did for lion's mane. Everything
Should
else
give them
was
to all the girls that's PMSing, I think.
right. And I think that's why, you know, with this kind of studies and this kind of results, you would figure that there's more testing that's going to happen. But I'm not too sure if it's pharmaceutical companies stopping this. I know this is the whole idea of double blind and control groups. This is a Western type of thinking, you know.
Yeah.
These mushrooms have been around for thousands of years in the Eastern principles, you know, and they
Yeah.
never really required this testing. I think it's the pharmaceutical, when they try to either promote or sell the drugs, they need all the numbers, they need the facts, you know. People want to see studies, so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's why there's a lot of not so much testing. This is just really getting introduced into the Western culture right now. So yeah, hopefully as this thing grows more people get interested in growing their own mycelium. They'll come up with their own tests and their own, like, for example, all of us, you know,
Yeah.
like just giving it to all the different kinds of people. My mom, she got some bad dementia going on, and I seen what happened to my grandmother, you know. I did not realize how bad mom had it, but she started taking the lion's mane and she swears by it. She now doesn't forget. She still forgets here and there, but not at the near frequency that she was before taking the lion's mane. And energy, people like you don't have dementia, you don't have Alzheimer's, but you feel the benefit in your everyday. You know, the
Yeah.
sharpness is there, the
Definitely.
control of your moods. You're able to take a step back and take a breath. When back in the day, I know you fly off the handle.
Yeah.
You know that. No. Yes, as the Western culture starts to adopt this, I believe our free thinking is going to allow people to try and come up with other uses for it, other tests for it, explore the wonderful world of mycelium and all the wonders and beauties that it has for that too. So, yeah, definitely. hope that this is something that's not a fad and it's here to stay. There's a lot of benefit that people can benefit.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to it. What I did notice, I see a a lot of people are using mushrooms and a lot of companies are out there doing the same thing. I would see the lion's mane tincture and I would ask you like, "Oh, how do you do it?" And you explain to me, which makes sense. With every big company, there's people trying to maximize profits. When you do that, you cut corners, you do things not as beneficial to the process. You want to hurry up and move product. With what you explained to me, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Um, how do you extract this? And my other question for this is, what if you take too much? I know, not that I tried, but I just thought of it now. Like, what if I drank this whole bottle? What would happen?
Right. So, and that's another good thing about lion's mane. There's not a lot of side effects to it. So it's very hard to overdose on something like lion's mane. But that being said, there is a point where you could take too much. For example, I tried to up my dose, and me being the person that makes this, I want to try and test out as much as I possibly could. And what I found is when I upped my dose, my stomach got sore.
Oh.
I was, I hate to get graphic on you guys, but I was taking some unreal shit. One of the things lion's mane do is it kills the H. pylori in your gut. And
Oh.
H. pylori is a real bad bacteria that you have in there. And for me, I'm a local boy, born and raised on canned foods and
Yeah.
hamburger. You know, that is the number one meat in my house. So foods like that really built up the H. pylori in my system, and just taking too much too fast, it doesn't allow your body to adjust to the medicine. And that's
Oh.
really what would be the disadvantage of taking something like that. Just recently, I've heard of somebody getting headaches, and it could be something like they take too much. It could
Mm.
be an unforeseen factor. So I would not just go out and just pound the whole thing. You really would not get a lot of the benefit. And yeah,
Well, it
it
might be
probably,
good, might be a different kind of medicine. Like if you get stuck
right.
shit, then you can just
Yes,
pound the whole bottle
yes,
and clear you out.
and you're all good, bro.
You
Yes, yeah,
be
yeah.
taking violent shit, but I don't know.
It was stink. It was black, and again, I sorry to get graphic, but I
Yeah.
always had problems with my DM. Like I always watery, never had hardship for years trying, but the lines being cleared that up real quick. Yeah, yeah. 3 days for it to work through my system, and now it's safe to say it's all good down there. But yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of levels your what is it? Those gut bacteria, like the probiotics. It
The
kind of
probiotic.
levels it out to where you have a healthier digestion.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. That's
I
definitely,
gotta
and you know,
admit that
I
I haven't had any problems in that area,
got you,
but
got you.
so yeah, I guess that that's good, but
Yeah,
okay, so you cannot OD on it and so kids can take it and all that kind. It's like a
yes, yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, the tinctures that we make it with is made from alcohol, but it's such a small level. Like I give this to my kids.
Okay.
My daughter, she doesn't really like the taste of it, but my son really loves it, and he takes it religiously every day with us. So it's definitely something safe. It has no psychedelic properties. It's
Yeah.
definitely not something that I would tell kids not to take. It's just the alcohol in it that makes it a little touchy subject, a little bit iffy. But
Yeah.
yeah, in order to make this mushroom, like you said, there's a lot of companies that cut corners. And a big way that these guys cut corners is that they just grow the mycelium. They don't wait to the point of fruiting bodies. They grow these myceliums on grain and they just grind it up and put it into pills. So if anybody is looking to buy any type of mushroom supplement, I would definitely look at the ingredients. And any ingredient that says mycelium or mycelium base, that's basically what they're doing. They're not even making the medicine out of mushrooms. They're just grinding up the grain. And there's a lot of health benefits that you get off of mushrooms. The problem is that we're not able to separate the mycelium from the media that it's grown on. So there's no process yet without killing the mycelium. So these guys just grind it up, put it into powders. And it would be good if we were getting higher doses of mycelium, but this thing is a thin, wispy like thing. And
Oh,
you're getting 99% brain and probably 1% mycelium when you take a look
oh,
like that. So, yeah, and that's why I think that we didn't really feel the benefit when we first took it. Um, we were taking a lot of it. Every single one that we looked at said mycelium on the ingredients. So,
oh, wow.
yeah, that's how we kind of got into the tincture making. Found out that that's the best way to pull the medicine out using the fruiting bodies of the mushroom. And it's what they call a dual extraction. So basically, we take the fruit of the mushroom and we grind it up into
What is that? The
alcohol.
cap? The cap of the mushroom?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Or for example, yes, it would be the cap, it would be the stem, it would be everything that the traditional mushroom would be like. So
Oh,
it'd be the
okay.
stem and the cap. And we grind this up and add alcohol to it. We do a 2-to-1 mix, so 2 parts of alcohol to 1 part of mushroom, and then we put them in mason jars, shake it up, and we let it sit for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh,
And through
wow.
that 6 to 8 weeks, you can actually see all the medicine getting pulled out, and the liquid gets darker as time goes on. And then we take that at the end of the 6 to 8 weeks and we strain everything out. So we keep all the mushrooms. I use cheesecloth to do this to make sure that we just got the alcohol mixture and no fruiting bodies in it. And the second process is taking that mushroom and boiling it in water. And I think the thing that made our thing a little bit better was that we took fresh mushroom at that stage too, whereas other companies reuse that mushroom that
Oh, I
they
see.
initially soaked with. Yes, yeah, yeah. And they said that there's a lot of good properties on that, or that soaking it in the alcohol will weaken the walls and allow that water extract part to happen better. But through trial and error, we found the darker, and that's really how you can tell the tincture strength without actually sending it into the lab and getting it tested, was the color of your fluid afterwards, Like a
Mm.
lot of the tincture, the first tincture we bought, this thing looked like water, like
Oh,
colored water, you know, super see-through, not dark at all. So yeah, that's how we started adding in fresh mushroom to that second part of the extraction.
oh,
And that again, we grind it all up. We do a 2-to-1 mixture again, 2 parts of water to 1 part of mushroom. And then we cook it on slow cook for 36 hours.
oh, wow.
And that draws out all that second part of the Arenaceae. Sorry, I get a hard time pronouncing that
Nah,
thing,
no.
right? The Arenaceae is part of the lion's mane. And then, so after the 36 hours, same thing, using cheesecloth, we strain out all the fruiting bodies, make sure that there's only the liquid. And then we take half of the alcohol, half of the water mixture, combine it together, and that's kind of how we get that's what they call a dual extraction. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
our process. Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to finish up our website. It's a work in progress. I'm trying to explain and show by pictures on exactly step by step. I'm hoping to build our website so that's a one-stop shop that anybody finding anything about or wanting to know about any of the different mushrooms, any of the health benefits. I want to make links to the exact tests that they ran, even down to showing how we grow it from petri dish to making our tinctures all one-stop shop. It should be coming soon.
Oh,
But
nice.
yes, yeah, yeah, definitely started off as a way to find medicine for Lisa. But as I grew more and more into the mycelium and understood more about the properties of mycelium, uh, I really want to try educate other people on doing this at home, experimenting with mycelium. The way I see it is the more people trying different stuff, the faster this is going to progress. And I
Yeah.
truly believe it's something beautiful that can, sorry, don't mean to sound grandiose, but
No,
change the
I
world,
agree.
brother.
Yeah,
I
I
believe it can
agree.
change the world.
And
Yeah,
going back to what you said, I noticed like this stuff is dark and I can taste mushroom. Like there's
nice.
a flavor to it. And I like mushrooms, like I said earlier, but people who don't, like if you put it in your coffee, the
Right,
alcohol kind of vaporizes. You cannot really taste the alcohol. They said you can put it under your tongue 3 drops, but I'll put it in my coffee in the morning and yeah, you can't taste it too much, but like I said, I like the taste, so I can drop it in my tongue and
right
but I
on.
know it's not something that's kind of manufactured. It's the real deal. And that's kind of why I like going through you because I know what I'm getting. Like you tell me what this is, like there's you doing them yourself. I'm talking to you, so I know what I'm getting. And honestly, I wouldn't even probably have never known just because I see this ad on Instagram and it's the 5 mushrooms and it's in tinctures. And the first thing you said, try to look at the ingredients to see if you get rice inside or see if it's mycelium. I'm like, oh yeah, they all have it, thinking that was a good thing. He's like, oh no, that's not good. And I was like, oh, and I showed you the link because it's all packaged nice and whatnot.
Yes,
But with anything, when it becomes mass produced, like I said, people won't cut corners. So I know what
right.
I'm getting. I seen it at your house growing. I see what you do and you explain it to me with meticulous input on each step. So I know that this legit, what you're saying is legit. And yeah, I'm thinking the next one I want to try is the one that increases oxygen through your blood. And I know
Of course.
before when I used to be an athlete, the more oxygen going through your body is the less you fatigue. And because a lot of people would dope, blood dope, and which is like Lance Armstrong took a EPO that would increase your red blood cells because red blood cells carry blood through your oxygen through your body. So if there was a natural way to do it with mushrooms to increase oxygen going through your body, you feel less fatigue. You, like you said, you could use it as a pre-workout. It'll be good just for everyday health and increasing oxygen through your body. I just seen a advertisement of having oxygen in a can. You can just like take because the air we breathe is what 20% oxygen. So if you pounding pure oxygen, but then of course it goes away. But if your body naturally increased red blood cells, it could take that 20% and utilize it more and you'll get less fatigued. And that's what happens naturally when you go to areas with high altitude because your body needs more oxygen. Your body naturally produces red blood cells. That's why in Denver they have the Olympic Training Center where the athletes go to train up there so their bodies can naturally produce red blood cells so that when they come down to box or run track or whatever it is they're competing in, they won't be as tired. So
Right.
what mushroom was that again?
So that's called the cordyceps mushroom, and
Wait,
that
is
is
that the
actually
one that's in the TV show that messed up Earth?
yes, yeah, yeah. The
Oh,
Last of Us, yes,
yeah.
yeah. That's exactly the one. And
Oh,
it's gotten a really bad rap, but you know what? The crazy thing about that is that thing, besides the fact that it could jump to humans, uh, it actually feeds off of a living organism. So in nature, it infects ants, it infects different types of flies, and it zombifies them, and it uses
Oh.
the body as the nutrients to produce the mushroom, just like in that show.
Oh, so
Just
there's some science behind the show then.
there is some science behind that.
Oh.
The only difference is that the temperature that humans run at is way too high for any mushroom to try and survive in, and I think they kind of touched on that on that show. So that's kind of why it would be an unrealistic thing, but in nature, this is what cordyceps normally do. And the cordyceps is actually the number one medicinal mushrooms grown today, and probably the
Oh,
most
wow.
expensive. Yes,
Okay.
like China, full on goes large with this thing. And they are very stingy about sharing certain species of cordyceps with the US people. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
two types. There's a Cordyceps sinensis and a Cordyceps militaris. So any type of cordyceps mushroom tincture medicine that we're taking here in the West all falls under the Cordyceps militaris brand. And that's something that can be grown in bins and stuff like that. The Cordyceps sinensis is something that I've seen people inject silkworms. I've seen
Oh,
them try and supplement different types of chemicals to try and produce the same type of nutrients that it would get, and it does it not with great success. I think the biggest one right now is using the silkworms. A company in Vietnam actually went ahead and can actually produce this on a worldwide scale.
oh,
Other
wow.
than that, more normally you would find this only in the environment, in nature. It's not something that can be farmed. It has to be at a certain altitude. But yeah, that is the number one medicinal mushrooms right now. And I think it's because of its ability to give you energy. It helps with sexual drive for older men. There's a lot of, like you said, it oxygenates the blood, so it truly makes every anatomy in your body get strengthened with this. And when you tag team something with lion's mane, for example, that really focuses on the brain, and then you increase the oxygen in that area, you get what they call, a adaptogenic effect that mushrooms give. The two
Oh, wow.
mushrooms become stronger if working together. So
Oh, wow.
yes, that's the beauty of mushrooms too, and why these guys sell all these five mushrooms in one kind of thing, and that's what they're hoping to achieve. Like I said earlier, all the mushrooms all basically do the same thing, but each species focuses on certain aspects of this. Like again, lion's mane on the brain, cordyceps, oxygen, or getting a better flow of life force, to every organ in your body. So yes, yeah,
That's
yeah,
nuts.
and it's very a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing. I got all kinds of different plans, and if I go too crazy on you guys, let me know, Tad.
Nah, no
Okay.
worries. I'm interested. Would you extract it the same way? Do you extract it?
Yeah,
Okay,
it'll
that
be a
double.
dual extraction. Yes, yeah, yeah. And not all mushrooms work like that. There's certain mushrooms that you can only do the alcohol extraction. There's certain mushrooms
Oh,
that you can only do the water extraction. Cordyceps, like lion's mane, is something that can be dual extracted. So yeah, it'll be the exact same way. But yeah, in conjunction with somebody else, we're trying to work on these coconut beetles, the problems that we're having. I don't know if you guys
oh yeah,
know
yeah,
about
yeah.
these. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're trying to inoculate coconut beetles with this cordyceps mycelium. And if it does take, it would actually be something that helps kill off a species that is posing a huge threat and a huge problem here in Hawaii. There's
Oh,
no
wow.
natural predators to it, and it runs rampant on every coastal type city. There's no answer. There's no spray. There's no kill something to kill it. So yeah, pretty excited about trying to manipulate the mycelium and not only get a good quality cordyceps, but also try to help solve something else, you know.
Oh, that'd
And
be
that's
cool.
really, thank you, Rob. Thank you. And we'll see. We got all these little jars yeah, yeah. And I hope to post everything on the website. And if it works, it works. If not, my hope is that it just gets people thinking about different ways that they can use this mycelium to help the environment and stuff like that. But yes,
Okay.
yes, it's definitely a work in progress. That is something that's probably going to be one of the last mushrooms that come out just because of the nature of it.
Yeah.
The Cordyceps militaris, like you don't have to use something alive. There is a different way to grow it on rice and giving the right nutrients to try and make the same type of environment that they would live off of bugs and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different ways to grow it. And before I start any mushroom, I research the crap. And you know me, Thad, right?
Yeah.
I go deep into something. I want to make sure all my I's are dot, all my T's are crossed before it gets released. And that is one of the more complex mushrooms that I'm going to be working with. But yes, yeah, I definitely interested in all the possibilities that cordyceps has to offer, brother. Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome. I definitely want to be a person that tries those out. I want to try
yeah.
that.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing is awesome, and I do know how you are. Once you're involved and immersed in something, you go all in, and it seems like you know your stuff, man. You're well educated in
Thank
on
you.
this topic, and like like you said, when you're all in, like you definitely go above and beyond trying to learn, and that's something cool. As we are getting older, learning new stuff isn't always as common. So it's exciting because you're learning new stuff and you're teaching it to me and our friends, and we're learning new stuff. And that's always a good thing. I think being someone who is very anal about whatever they're doing, it's good to know the process that you're doing is going to be done in a anal fashion. It's gonna be done correctly. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think with the kind of the boom, I don't think it's gonna be a fad, but mushrooms are starting to get really popular. I even have mushroom coffee. It has a bunch of mushrooms in there. And as your company grows, I know you're just starting out. The benefits of it is gonna start helping people, and I know that's something that's always been a passion of yours. And I'm kind of disappointed it took your wife ailment to kind of create a reason to help people, but I think big picture, like a lot of people are going to benefit from what you're doing. And one thing I
Thank
do
you.
like about your concepts is you're not scared to share the knowledge. You're not scared to be like, oh, I'm not gonna teach him because then he can make his own company and lose a customer. It's like, oh no, I want people to learn how to do this. I want people to come up with new ideas how to do it. And that's what it's all about. That's where your aloha is coming into your company, and that's what's gonna make your company different than all these other brands that are cutting corners and doing things to kind of just mass produce it because they like make money. I think the direction you're going in is where a lot of people that want to get benefits from mushroom will turn to because of the aloha that you have.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. And I gotta say, I've been having a lot of fun with this, you know, trying to make me feel like a mad scientist, you know,
Yeah,
and just coming up with the different ways to water them and different ways of drying the mushrooms out, you know, kind of get to MacGyver a lot of stuff, you know, and put together things that probably is not the best looking, but serves its purpose, you know.
yeah,
So I've been having a lot of fun with this. And you're right, bro. There's a certain level of analness when it comes to mushrooms. Mushrooms is really a fungus, that's why. So
Yeah.
a lot of the medium that we use to grow this mycelium is super good for the household fungus or mold that you find growing inside of walls, and especially here in
Oh.
Hawaii, we
Oh
get a
yeah.
ton of that. So there's a certain time period of growing the mycelium that really got to be clean. For me, I needed a sterile room, HEPA filter to make sure that wherever I'm working on is glowing clean stuff, and that just makes me feel like a mad scientist.
Here
I
in a
get to,
clean room with the, yeah, hey, that makes
yeah,
sense. And like you said,
yeah,
you're doing it correctly with
yeah,
account to every little thing that could go wrong. It's not, oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Thank you,
So
brother.
where
Thank
do
you.
you see the future of this brand and company? Like, well, where would you want to see um medicinal mushrooms Hawaii in like 5, 10 years from now?
Right. So I definitely want to zero in on the medicine. The medicine has been first and foremost the most important thing. Unfortunately, despite the lion's mane tincture, it gives Lisa relief. So uh, during that time we caught COVID, I was able to buy these small little kits, and within a month's period, we made a real shabby type of tincture. First tincture, and of course it was just off the wall, wasn't the best quality, but it kind of helped her, and gave
Yeah.
us hope that this is something that with a better quality mushroom, with a better quality tincture, we could find a perfect solution for Lisa. Unfortunately, we did not get to that point, which is the lion's mane mushroom, which is why we were kind of exploring the other mushrooms as well, the turkey tails and chaga, more specifically, that dealt with inflammation in the gut as well as in the joints. So I definitely want to make sure that we build something that helps Lisa, where she can possibly get her inflammation down to the point where she can get off this hard types of drugs. So that is definitely something I want to see happen. Um, but that to me is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I really want to extract polysaccharide cage from the turkey tail and try and get some cancer research going with that stuff with the cordyceps, and trying to use the mycelium to try and help take care of a natural nuisance,
Yeah.
and just a lot of different things like that. This chaga has been the most recent one that I've gone through. That is one particular mushroom that I can't grow here. I mean, I could grow it in the way that I'm growing all the other mushrooms, but to get the real good medicine out of it, it's really got to grow off of white birch trees, and the turpentine that it sucks off of that really is a major component in one of the medicines. The problem with that is that it kills the white birch trees within 5 to 7 years.
Oh.
So being able to adjust that mycelium to say something like the African tulip trees, what would
Oh yeah.
happen with them? And the way mycelium can adapt to its environment, that can adapt to different stuff. So it's really projects like that that's really floating my boat right now.
Okay.
Being able to teach people, maybe start something here in Hawaii. There's not a lot of people growing mushrooms here. There's really small pockets, but as far as the community coming together and working and saying that this works or this doesn't work, and I live up here and this doesn't work. Do you have any ideas? Just trying to create that type of environment, and really give birth to the Hawaii mycology is definitely something I want to
Okay.
pursue and very passionate about. So yeah, really finding out the different uses of mycelium, and yeah, yeah, promoting yeah, different things, hopefully to help out. But that's
Well,
where I really see it.
that's awesome. And for me, that makes it all the more same because now I know that you're people based, not money based. Like you want to
Yes,
make a difference and you want to help people. that's always gonna be positive. And like I said, I know how you are, bro. You can figure it out.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much, bro. Yeah. I learned in the past that being money based pushes money farther away from you,
That's
you know.
true.
At least
Yeah.
for me, it did, you know. Every time I was just thinking about the bottom line and where everything, it just was missing the component of magic. And I think that starting off as something that I wanted to heal Lisa with really I really wasn't in any intention trying to sell this or try to start a company. It really was on a focus to try and find Lisa stuff, medicine for her. And in doing so, I made this huge 5 gallon bucket of stuff, you know, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I started just handing it out to people and with no intention of anybody paying for anything. I just really wanted to see if it helped people or was I like producing snake oil, you know? So, and it was really the response from friends like you, friends like and family that I have that really made me think we might have something here. So yeah, definitely was not started off in an attempt to make money, brother. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. And that's awesome because between me and you, I've known your wife forever. And you guys were dating in high school, and she's been Team Clint since day one. And that's something I always knew about her. She loved you from when we were young. And to see you guys together and have a family, and to see your family flourishing, and watching you with your kids, and seeing Lisa as your wife is just kind of, for me, it reminds me that there is such thing as true love. And that, for me, I always been impressed with both of you guys. And I mean, you guys had weathered a big storms, up and down stuffs, and you guys always let that love sink in and keep your guys' family and everything going forward. And like I said, she's been Team Clint since day one. And it's amazing to see it, bro. And for me, that's always been inspiring, and it makes me believe in true love. And that's in this day and age is very rare.
thank you, brother. Thank you. I don't know what I did in my previous life to earn this one, but I certainly know that she's been my rock, bro, and
Yeah.
has pulled me out of some hairy situations.
Yeah.
She she has been Team Clint. Yeah, I'm super blessed, bro, to have her, bro. Super blessed to have her. Trying to keep her around as long as I possibly can,
Yeah.
bro.
And that's
Yes.
awesome. Like, that's the that'll always be the root of your company, was the love for your wife. So it's gonna work, brah. I'm on board.
Ooh, thank you, Todd. Thank you very much, bro. Yes. See how everything goes, bro. Having fun with it,
Yep.
enjoying the responses from it, and just loving it,
Well,
and loving life.
I think that's what drives you. Like, you love making people happy, and you love sharing your aloha and your knowledge. So this kind of sums everything up in one. And like I always said, since we were little, bro, you have potential to do something big. And I've been saying it for years. We're just trying to figure out what it would be. And I think we, with age and time, this fell into your focus. And this is the one, bro. This is the thing that we thought was gonna happen for you, and you're gonna take the bull by the horns and change change the world. And you're starting, and it's working. And this is what your potential was gonna lead you to. And I think it's time, bro. It's time now. And I think
Thank
all
you,
of our
brother.
whole friends circle was waiting for this to happen. And it's kind of cool to see, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you, bro. It's definitely something that I did not plan for, but like I said, cases of unfortunate events is what led us here, and that's now hindsight, I see that it was all meant to happen, bro, at the right
Yeah.
place at the right time, bro. I didn't have done it. And with friends like you guys, bro, it's hard to fail, man. Thank
Yep.
you, bro. Thank you
we're
very
we're
much.
a driving force for each other, bro. It's weird.
Yeah, right. Definitely have a root connection that I don't see too often, and I super
Yeah.
appreciate it. Definitely rely on that throughout my whole entire life, brother.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right, man. Well, we've been going for over an hour, and like with anything, I probably could talk to you for another couple hours.
Right on.
Um, I do want to touch base with you in the future and have you back on the show and see what you got going on in a year or so. I always do certain guests. I'll have a catching up episode. I definitely want to have you on for one of those and see where you're going. But as of right now, where can people find you and how can they start trying the lion's mane?
Got you. Yes. So I have a website, www.medmushhigh.com. And you could order on our website. I will have an ATB pod discount for anybody that can get there. You type in ATB CAD stuff and get a 40% off the first tincture or whatever
Oh,
you guys want
wow.
to buy. Yes, yes. I definitely want your community to try it.
Okay.
That's how much I believe in it, I'm also on Etsy. Yeah, through our Etsy page, we got a 25% discount going on at introductory sale. And I want to say within 2 weeks, we should have the Chaga tinctures up and running.
Oh, nice.
Yes, yes. Check us out. The website is still a work in progress. Again, I'd like to try and incorporate everything that I've said here into a one-stop shop. I know I kind of was all over the place, so hopefully the website will give a little bit more clear detail about what I was saying. I would love to be back here, Tad.
Yeah.
Little nervous today, so I'm not too sure exactly the information I gave out was all over. I had all kinds of notes that I wanted to talk about, but
No, I think we
I
covered
got
what
with the flow.
was a good
Nice.
baseline and to get people to get a little bit more knowledgeable and also curious into mushrooms and also what you got going on. And what you
Got
see,
you.
you got an Instagram too, huh? People can follow you on
Oh
Instagram.
yeah. See, Rob. Yes, got Instagram. Maybe we can put that up too.
Yep,
Sorry,
yep.
I suck at social media as well.
All good, bro.
This is all my wife's. Yes, yeah, yeah. Sorry about that,
No
guy.
worries, bro.
Thank you for that, Chad.
And for us, so this company is now a new proud sponsor of this podcast. So we're gonna be doing some giveaways. We're gonna get some people some of these tinctures. We're gonna have some Instagram shout outs and giveaways, and we want to start building this brand and community and letting people try it because I always said like if they try it, then the product will speak for itself. And yeah, if that's the case, then if they can try it, then you'll have someone wanting to be involved. So hopefully
Nice, Chad.
it'll take off and like you
Thank you,
said, it's
brother.
more for people to try and experience this. And I don't endorse anything that I don't believe in. And this is something I use, I definitely believe in. I give to my friends. I want people to try it. And I don't want to be like, oh, you gotta use it, you have to do this and this. I'm just saying, just try it and see what happens. If you don't like it, no need to do them again. But
Right,
I would
right.
say more than not, you'll benefit from its benefits because I have. And yeah, it definitely I definitely know my daughter likes me taking this stuff because I'm not jumping down her neck every day. Yeah. Yep.
That's so awesome, bro. Tad, thank you very much, bro. Thank you for spreading this out into your community. It's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of people that I know and care about too. Locals, we got to kind of stick together. So
Yeah.
thank you, bro. If I could, I would give away all of this for free. That's how
Yeah,
much I feel strongly about. It's really not about the money for me. It's really about the benefit that people can get from it.
for sure.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
And for us, you can still find us on Instagram. We're Above the Bridge Podcast. Our YouTube channel is Above the Bridge Podcast. Website is atbpod.com. And my personal Instagram is Daddy Daddy Hi. All right, brother. Well, I hope to see you in person soon and hang out with you. I know you're busy and we always have a lot of family stuff going on with kids and sports and birthdays but I noticed in the last couple years we've been making time and I think that's
Yes,
important. And
super important, bro. Touch base again, bro.
yeah,
Been missing this, bro.
yeah, for
Definitely
sure.
a component that I've been missing, bro.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I think yeah, I will see you in the future and thank
sounds
you
good.
for coming
Sounds good.
on and sharing this with everybody because I know it's something that you're not normally used to, and I know that it's important to you to get the message out. And I told you, bro, you're the one to do it because you have that charisma. You can motivate people to do anything. Since we are little, you motivated me to do all kind of dumb shit.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Right. You know what I
Yes.
was thinking too? If there were a freaking social media and iPhones and everybody has a camera walking around,
Back in the day.
we be in jail, bro.
Guaranteed, bro.
Or we
Guaranteed,
just
but
be
love
getting out.
for dumb shit too.
Yo, 90% of the stuff we did when we was young wasn't legal.
But it was sure fun though, bro.
Yeah, yeah, makes us who we are now, bro. To be
Yes, it
old and
does.
wise, you gotta be young and dumb.
Right. And we had that covered, bro.
Yeah.
Right
Well,
on, brother.
man,
Thank you so much for having me, bro.
I
Thank you
appreciate
very
you
much, bro.
and I
I really
appreciate you
do.
for sponsoring my show and I'm definitely down to back it and help put the word out there and I definitely want to see this do well because like I said, it's something I believe in.
Thank
Yeah.
you, brother.
Good thing you
Thank you
didn't
very
like come
much.
up with some shit that doesn't work or like something
Right,
dumb.
bro?
Then I'd have to be like, oh man, you know what I mean?
How
Like so
about
much
this
stuff my friend,
one? We
yeah,
do.
I was like, maybe.
You know what, Tato? But you are one of the friends I would rely on, not bullshitting to me. You know,
Yo.
if it was something that just didn't work, you would be able to tell me, bro,
Oh yeah.
I'm not too sure about this.
Yo.
So yes, definitely appreciate that, bro. Definitely appreciate that.
All right, man. Well, shakas for the cameras.
Taka, bro. Right on, brother. Love you guys, bro. Have a good one, bro.
Love you, bro. We're
Love
out.
you
Thanks
too,
again
man.
for coming on, bro. Love you. See you
Bro,
soon,
thank
bro.
you so much, Tad. Thank you very, very much, brother.
Aloha. We're out. Shout out to the Artist Groove Network. Aloha.